about offense the last couple of days? Obviously, you weren't happy after the game the other night. What did you do in practice, and what did you focus on?
We just, we looked at that end of the floor. As much as, you know, you might be unhappy about that, the lack of shot making or what your vision is of what you think the offense can be, you know, you try and still stick to what, you know, you've been doing, you know, your whole career, and so I'm not gonna try and reinvent something. We also concentrate on defense. Our second half defense was poor. We put them on the free throw line. We didn't generate turnovers. We didn't get any easy baskets because of our defense. So, you know, it's a two-way street. We gotta improve really all around.
When you watched the game film, did it look differently than it did right after the game?
Not particularly. You know, I think the same concerns that I had after were you know, fair, and we do have to improve, especially as we start playing better teams and, you know, get closer to conference play. So these few weeks are real important.
How do you feel like the team responded to your message?
I think we were good yesterday. I thought there was good competition in practice in our segments. There was, you know, it was a little bit heated at times too, and again, it was a focus on making shots and being playmakers and playing with confidence at that end of the floor, and sharing the basketball and talking about a lot of those things. And, you know, today the same thing. Today didn't go as long as we went yesterday, but I thought we had everyone's attention pretty good.
Tayshaun has shown some signs of kind of elevating his game a little bit. Has there been any certain thing that's kind of keyed that at all?
I just think what's really important to Tayshaun is going to be routine, and when he gets an injury or some type of setback and he's out for any significant amount of time, he gets sent backwards. So he's been able to stay healthy and stay in practice the last couple of weeks. So it's probably a byproduct of him, just the consistency of day in and day out working on his game to get better.
He hits the floor a lot. Do you ever like hold your breath every time he goes down?
I mean, it's initially I was surprised by how often it happened, and I think it happens either versus Virginia or St. John's. I can't remember, out by half court, and I said, "Come on, Tay, let's go. We gotta go." You know, and he got up pretty quick and he bounced back up. So, but that's how he plays. He plays with a lot of fire, and you know, he might get labeled as a guy that's got a great shot that can shoot, but he's flying all over the place. He plays really physical and plays hard.
Do you think he gets on the floor for loose balls more than anybody else on the team? It seems like he's on the floor a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly is. He doesn't think twice. He doesn't. Not a guy that's going to bend over and try and pick the ball up. He's going right to the floor.
I know last season was tough for Rob with the injury, really just derailed his whole season in a way. What do you see from him after 8 games this year?
Yeah, I just first 2 games were outstanding. I think he had a little bit of where he wasn't what he was those first 2, and just want to see him stay aggressive. And you know, I know what he's capable of doing from behind the arc. Continue to do that, and I think he's been a better defender for us this year than he was last year by far. So that's been a real plus.
I know Romello talked about him really being a leader of this team, being a senior. Have you seen that too?
Yeah, I mean, Rob is not the type of guy that's going to do it verbally, but he does abuse the guys. Respect him, not only his talent, but how hard he works, how much time he spends on his game. And never seen a guy that had to sit out so many months with an injury like the back, and then yet still maintain like 5% body fat somehow. It's just, he's a freak that way, just as an athlete. But it's more of just his routine, and two is how what he does away from the court. Like, he takes care of himself, and so he leads by that example for sure.
And talk about leadership. How important has Remy's leadership as well been for this team so far, and have you seen personally?
Yeah, I mean, it's what Remy does. You know, it means so much to him. So, you know, down the stretch in games, he could take over the games. Did that versus Colorado. He scored 21 points versus Virginia. I mean, that's a miracle in that game. You know, that's like getting 50 in the game. And then, you know, St. John's, he was a big reason on the comeback there. So he's had, you know, those type of games for us, those type of performances, and we're just trying to talk to him about just getting everyone involved too, and making sure he's getting guys shots as we're going.
You mentioned after the game Saturday night, him being more engaged. Did you talk to him after the game about that, or the next day in practice, and what was his response?
I just thought he was too quiet, you know, in the second half, and we needed more of the passion that he has and the toughness and more of the verbal, you know, energy that he brings to the team. And it wasn't quite what he normally would bring. So, yeah, I spoke to him about that.
Any reason why you think? Any hypothesis on why that game specifically?
Well, I mean, his numbers weren't great. It's so hard, no matter how much experience you have as a player, how much you've done, to maybe sometimes you're in your own world, and you know you might be thinking about some plays that you didn't make, or why did coach take me out of the game, you know, and certain things, and then you get sidetracked from doing what we need him to do, which is run the show out there and communicate with his teammates and just be less tolerant when we're not playing well, like, and make that a point. Besides the coaches just asking for better performance, you know, he's earned the right to be able to demand that from the group.
By the time you play Georgia this weekend, it'll be about 10 games into the season. How many games do you think you need as sort of a litmus test to see where this team's at, and what are you hoping to see out of them?
Yeah, I think we're going to be challenged you know, the next 4 for sure. It's and then we have Christmas, and we'll have one more. But yeah, we have starting tomorrow with Prairie View. I know it's not the name everyone, you know, jumps off the page at everybody, but they play extremely hard, and if we're not ready to match their intensity and how hard they play, it's going to be embarrassing, because you know, they're well coached, and they fly around, they're active, they force turnovers, they offensive rebound, and so, you know, I'm staying in the moment with that. But you know, we have some really high quality games left in the non-conference to again see where we stand, because we've proven against good competition so far that we could compete and win those type of games, and put ourselves in a good position going into conference.
You mentioned after the last game that you needed to see Verge really start to find his flow a little bit more and not necessarily be so much in his head. Do you think that that's just a matter of transitioning to playing Division I basketball, or does that have to do with his injury? What do you think you attribute the slow start to him
Yeah,
for?
I mean, when he missed those games, it's hard to, you know, if you're a player or a coach, you understand the value in having those opportunities. And I knew how good he was practicing going into that weekend, so it was frustrating that he wasn't able to play. But now, you know, he looked pretty good yesterday. I would say more so than today. But I think he's the type of guy that needs to see the ball go through the basket a couple times, and then things could really come together for him. You know, that being said, I think he's got like 15 assists and 4 turnovers. So he hasn't, you know, disappointed in those areas. I think he's shown his creativity as a passer. You know, but he just needs more consistency, I think, and then to have a breakout game. And I don't know when that's going to be, but I hope it's soon.
How do you help guys make that transition from number 1 unquestioned star to, you know, 4th option coming off the bench? What do you do specifically?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have the off season to be in that role. That's just how it's happened. So I think it's been a little bit of misfortune for him, because again, if you ask me, I thought he would have been one of our key scorers, and still a lot of season left. So I don't doubt that that's still a possibility. But he's got to get back to having fun playing and just, you know, having confidence. You know, hopefully he's did some things well in practice last 2 days, and then it'll carry over into the game tomorrow night.
Coach, just 2 years ago today was that win at Kansas. Just with the hindsight of everything that's happened since then, how defining was that win for the program?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I can't believe it's been 2 years. That's crazy. It's time flies. But it was a highlight, you know, in my life, and getting a chance to coach that game and with that team was a special group to me, and so it was one of the fun moments that I've had as a coach.
Melo talked about using his left hand more and learning to kind of vary up his game, and that's the reason why he's had the run that he's had. From your perspective, how has he improved like his repertoire this season?
I think if you watch him, the game has slowed down for him considerably. Like when he gets it, sometimes he might go quick because he knows a double's coming and he thinks he could get to the bucket. But he's also being real patient and really reading the defense. And you know, he's trusting all the work he's put in. He's working down there with Coach Berno, and they're putting a lot of time on an assortment of moves in the post. So he's just not trying to bully his way to the basket. He's really using all his footwork, and like you touched on, that left hand has been a real addition to his game this year.
Just to pick